Now, I've stated this specific species before as a construct as well, but I'm going to put it into a little bit further detail without all the gabber and such. Cystalians, or as some might call Denarans. I'm not sure why they are called Denarans specifically in star language or whatever you want, whatever dialect that is used that pertains to them. But as of recent, there is not really anything known about them because their whereabouts are hidden. Still, I'm not allowed to really say where they are because whatever they're hiding from is very, very lethal to them specifically. Originally, they were dwelling on the edge of the void specifically. Void is very much hostile in some places where you can actually be torn apart to some extent, to the other half where it's relatively tame and you just pass right through. It depends on what kind of energy that's there. And they are able to dwell right by this void with all intents and purposes, that sometimes they have things that come from the mid-ground, I guess you could say, of the void that are meant to be there to keep a relative balance between the two sides, if you will. Still, it's nonetheless a little bit dangerous for them to be there, as they are fed on, they were fed on, constantly. But the thing is, they generate so much energy from being able to be near this, I guess you could say, positive end of the void, that they are able to repel them or just redirect whatever energy they actually have been harvested for. And, well, they don't, the beings that feed on them, they don't exactly they're not exactly going to have a good time of it. Let's just put it that way. The reason why the Cystalians have been not mentioned as much, in my mind, is because they are not very willing to trade with anyone in the multiverse. They're docile, they're very much a simple-minded people that really would like nothing more to be left alone. We do respect that. That's nothing too worrisome, but we do worry about them nonetheless, because they actually are one of the few beings that are considered of source, and I mean completely of source, completely made of crystal and able to move and function as you or I. But nonetheless, they still have their own way of life, and we respect that. As for their abilities, they are able to generate certain kinds of fields or aura that can be used as a power source. They do this, but only for a short period of time. This is something that you would probably see in Atlantis, because the Cystalians themselves, they actually were studied for a long period of time, and they were actually fairly helpful in developing of crystal technology. But I wouldn't say too much about it, because I'm not very good on this kind of field. Still, they have a lot more to them than meets the eye. When you first see them, it's a idea of, why are those crystals moving? And then they finally turn around and you see what they actually look like up close. And it's quite amazing, nonetheless. They have a face like that's rather jagged and ragged, but it's still crystal. Their whole body is crystal. You can actually see through them to some extent, and to see how their inner workings of what their chakra system is, how they actually are able to do things. I mean, they're rather intricately designed by sources themselves. I mean, why else would they be near the void that generates positive energy? I guess in some ways they actually started out as on that end because it was so bad that they were able to actually reverse it and turn into a more positive energy rather than just, hey, we're here, we don't mind what kind of energy is there. They literally radiate positive energy. They're nothing more than that. But when they have actually left a certain area, I have to wonder what's going to happen to that specific area of the void. In a way, their construct abilities actually rival that of some of the other beings that live in the void itself. And I guess you could say they're, by comparison, a little more powerful than the creatures or beings that live there. Still, that doesn't mean that they're impervious. I mean, sure, you could actually say that most beings that have a certain ability to live with a certain kind of energy like that is well over the top to be as advanced as possible. Still, they do not have souls, regardless of what you actually think of them. But they are smart. They come off as actually some being that can actually interact with you socially without even having to move single joint in their body to make a vocal pattern. They are probably one of the first, in my mind, to actually be able to use telepathy. Among other abilities, I've really not been able to figure out how it works, but in short, they can generate crystal just by touching things. And no, it's not like the Midas touch. You have to. They actually have to put effort into it. Their buildings or structures that they actually make are made of crystal. They move certain things into place, then just a simple little bit of exertion later, they have a place where they can be sheltered against the energy that they don't want to be subject to. Their history is fairly straightforward, as you could say. They pretty much just started out as simple crystals, and then, well, like as crystals do, they just grow. I don't have anything really much to say else about that, but they're interesting to say the least. I hope this was informative, and good day to you.